Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Tracy. Today's November 14th, 2023, and I've been working on putting equipment away back in the barn. It's gonna get cold. It has a couple of times in the last few weeks, but been working on the truck, been working on the tractor. Progress is coming along. The truck, I'm putting on these posts right here. This was already made up, and I made the other one, and there's a pin in the back. This guy right here goes in it to hold it from sliding out, and I got to drill a hole in this one. Nobody likes drilling uphill or overhead, but X marks the spot, right? I got to drill a hole through that. There's already a hole in that steel right there, see it? But I got to match it, and I got the outside, the distance I want, and I measured how far it is in, and X marks the spot, so I'm going to drill right there. And to do the drilling, of course, I got my glasses on with side shields, and I got an extra welding hood, and it's just got clear lens in it. Keep the metal shavings that going to come down from hitting me in the eye. An eye injury is not fun, and I don't wish it on anyone. So that's my safety for the day, and many more things, but for now that's it. I like using the plasma torch as much as I can. The acetylene torch is good for cutting really heavy material or bending something. You want to heat it up, or it's something that is useful when you need it. But the plasma torch for the smaller items that my machine is only 45 amp. It'll cut 1/2 inch. But before you use it, you got to check a few things on the torch. And also, before you hook it up, make sure there's no water in the air line. I run about 125 psi, and the welding machine has to be 220. It has to be putting out 50 amps max. Can't minimum. Can't be less than that, because this Hypertherm machine is 45. It'll draw 45 amps. But the torch, the plasma torch, there's some parts to it that get worn out if you use it. And this one here, this thread's off. That one's the shield. There are probably 4, 5 different styles that you can use. You can gouge with some of them. This one here has a little raised area where you just sit it right down on it and you scoot across. You check for any wear in here. The air can flow through. This is the nozzle. Now this gets worn out the most. That one's brand new, but you can see right here there's a little bit of wear in that. It just gets wallered off to one side. And to get that out, this whole collar right here unthreads. Gotta be careful, because the electrode, which is this, the electrode and the nozzle both go in there. So what happens is the power comes out of that, and the nozzle, it shoots it at a swirling rate. And this electrode has air that goes through it as well, and it cools it down. Now, if the electrode's bad, there's a distance right here that this tip will get worn out. So like a 1/16 of an inch or something. It'll get flat. Right now it's still rounded. So this one's still good. And then there's the swirl ring. It just pops out there. Just look for damaged cracks. If it's burned up. This one's still in good shape. And then there is the torch ring. There's a little O-ring in there. The rest of it all the air comes out of that down in there. It won't go outside of that. I don't believe it will. But you can see the little air nozzles in here, and you can see them down in there, so the air travels down through there. You just want to make sure these are nice and cleaned out, though. Look at them in the sunlight or in a light bulb, and that one's clean. So what I'm going to do is put the swivel ring back in, set the electrode down in there. It's spring loaded, and then this is called the ohmic sensor, and I've put the nozzle down in there. Make sure it's down in there good. It's come out. So thread the ohmic sensor back in place, and then put the shield back on. Everything's ready to go. I'm going to start torching. The nice thing about the plasma torch, very little cleaning. Just knock it off with a wire wheel or file or something. But anyway, I got it in there square. My plan is still to put another small piece of plate across here. It just helps hold this up because there's nothing on the bottom of it holding it in place. It's just like a small table, but it's securing these socket posts for a tool to go in here. So I'm going to tack weld it here, and then I'll get some blocks later and a bottle jack after I tack weld on both sides, get them lined up, and then I'll pull this up, get it straightened out, and we'll see how the center comes out. I may use a C-clamp on it, carpenter's clamp, pull it down before I put that strip across the side and on the very bottom. On the bottom it's going to be a big piece, 1/2 inch by 1 inch. plate put in place. The pipe stands are on the ends. Also anchored it down right there with a carpenter's clamp, and I got a bar underneath here going across it for a backing reinforcing bar to help hold that plate. So now I'm going to tack weld it right here in the middle. Then I'm going to let it go and see what happens here. But I want it, when I get done tacking it, I want it to be level with the back of the bed. That's the plan. The 1/2-inch plate that's sitting on top of that pipe jack stand, I've jacked it up so it's level. I'm letting it down right now. There's a bar underneath it, a flat bar. It's 3/8 by 1 inch. And I need to draw it up and get it tacked to the bottom of that horizontal plate. Here again, I'm going back and forth, checking everything so it's level off the back of that bed, getting that plate so there's no bow in it anymore, and I am adjusting the 1-inch flat bar underneath it, standing vertically so that it is setting evenly underneath it. It's going to get welded to those socket posts, and that just helps bridge that up so that when I'm working on the table, it doesn't bow. After everything's been clamped in place, I'm just putting about a 1-inch by 1/4-inch fillet tack about 6 inches apart. I'm going to do it all the way across there. That's about 8 feet across, and get it ready so that I can weld it. But I got a plate on the very top also that I'm going to get put on here in a little bit. It's just a little strip. It's like a hanging lip that goes over the back of the bed to keep it from driving down in the front part of that horizontal plate. I'm going to let that cool down a little bit before I try handling it. As soon as it cools down, then I'm going to pull it out, turn it upside down, and see if I can stick it in there to hold it in place. If I can, then I'll weld on it right here on the back of the truck. But these are still tight. The pipe cords are still in there tight. They didn't move. They're still wanting to come down. So when I let it down now, this lip that I just welded on, it'll hold it from going down. And notice I welded from the outside in, and that helps bow it up. When you weld in that direction, it wants to draw up. So when you're welding on things, you gotta use the physics of what happens. And it's not always a jig fixture, and you got to try to make it work for you.